Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we are absolutely tearing down one of the most widely accepted myths in our modern working world. I mean, from the time we're literally kids, we're fed this very specific story, right? Go to school, get a good degree, and find a safe, reliable 9-to-5 job. We are totally conditioned to believe that a steady job equals absolute financial security. But what if the exact opposite is true? Actually, what if that traditional, totally predictable salary is actually a massive financial liability? Today, we're going to dive into a wildly contrarian but incredibly important concept based on some super fascinating source material. We are breaking down exactly why the very thing you rely on to keep you safe might actually be your biggest financial risk.
Now, I want to immediately shatter this illusion of the steady paycheck with this really powerful lived experience quote straight from our source material. Listen to this. Most people think a steady paycheck is security. I'm 57, and I've seen that security trap more people in the middle class than a stock market crash ever could. Man, that is just incredible, right? Just think about the absolute panic a stock market crash strikes into the hearts of the average person. We totally obsess over market downturns, recessions, bursting bubbles, the whole shebang. Yet our source here, speaking from literally decades of observation, identifies the real trap not as market volatility, but as the false sense of comfort provided by a bi-weekly paycheck. It lulls you to sleep. It kind of just makes you complacent.
So I've got to ask you directly, is your safe job actually a liability? Really think about your own bi-weekly paycheck for a second. When that direct deposit hits your account every other Friday, it triggers a little dopamine hit, doesn't it? It feels like, okay, everything is fine, you can pay your rent, your mortgage, your grocery bills, but I want to introduce a little bit of a knowledge gap here for us to solve together. If that job is your absolutely only source of income, are you genuinely secure? Or are you just standing on a really fragile trapdoor? We need to completely reevaluate what the word liability even means when it comes to your personal finances.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the illusion of security.
So we've really got to unpack why the middle class has been so conditioned to equate a traditional salary with absolute safety, and honestly, why that equation is just fundamentally flawed. The steady paycheck is essentially the ultimate middle-class trap. Why a trap? Well, because it demands 100% of your prime working hours and energy in exchange for a totally capped upside. You trade in your time for a set amount of money, and because that money arrives with such a predictable rhythm, you never really feel the urgency to build a safety net outside of it. The source material argues that relying on this perceived safety is historically way more devastating to middle-class wealth than an entire collapse of the stock market. Think about it. When the market crashes, assets lose value temporarily, sure, but they almost always recover. But when your only source of income vanishes, your cash flow goes to zero immediately. There is no bounce back. You are instantly in a crisis.
Which brings us to Section 2, single point of failure.
Okay, we aren't just talking about abstract economics or high-level personal finance philosophy anymore. We need to talk about cold, hard risk management. Imagine, just for a second, if you went to a financial advisor and told them you wanted to take your entire life savings and put 100% of it into the stock of just one single company. They'd probably laugh you right out of their office. They'd tell you you're absolutely out of your mind and that it's way, way too risky. Yet when it comes to our income, the very engine that funds our entire life, we do exactly that. We allocate 100% of our earning power to one source, one boss, one job. Seeing it like this really demonstrates the sheer absurdity and, frankly, the extreme vulnerability of tying your entire livelihood to a single point of failure.
The crucial vulnerability here really all comes down to the number one. It takes exactly one person, one boss, one bad quarterly earnings report, or one random corporate restructuring decision to completely wipe out your entire safety net. Poof! Gone. If that one connection is severed, your income drops 100% overnight. In the world of engineering, a single point of failure is a massive design flaw. It literally has to be engineered out of a system. If a single part breaking can bring down an entire bridge or a whole server network, the design is fundamentally broken. Well, according to our source material, the traditional 9-to-5 job represents the ultimate single point of failure in your personal financial system.
Let's move on to Section 3, middle class versus 1%.
To actually fix this single point of failure, we have to look at how two entirely different economic paradigms operate. The middle class focuses almost entirely on climbing the ladder for a higher salary, while the 1% focuses on asset growth. This is the core conceptual leap our source material really wants us to make. The middle class obsession is all about getting a bigger paycheck. But hey, a bigger paycheck from one single employer is still just a larger single point of failure.
If a doctor making $400,000 a year loses their ability to work, their income goes to zero just as fast as someone making $40,000 a year. The 1% mindset, on the other hand, secures true safety through continuous asset growth. They don't just want cash, they want systems, investments, and assets that generate cash completely independently of their daily labor.
That takes us to Section 4, Income Diversification Explained.
This is where we get to enthusiastically dive into the core solution. This is the exact strategy the 1% uses to protect themselves from financial ruin. Income diversification means building a robust portfolio of multiple income streams to eliminate the risk of a single point of failure. I absolutely love this definition because it completely reframes how you should view your financial life. You are no longer just an employee, you are a portfolio manager, and the portfolio you're managing is your own income. Just like a well-balanced retirement account has stocks, bonds, and real estate to protect against the downside of any one sector, your income needs balance too. Think about it. If you have 4 different income streams and you lose one, you still have 75% of your cash flow totally intact. You've bought yourself time, security, and peace of mind. You have officially engineered the single point of failure right out of your life.
All right, final section, Section 5, Building Your Safety Net. So, we've talked about the problem, we've defined the mindset shift, and now it's time to pay off that promise we made at the very beginning of this explainer by showing you how to actually build real security. How do you transition to a bulletproof safety net? Well, step 1, recognize your job as a single point of failure. You really have to break the illusion. Accept that your paycheck, no matter how big it is not guaranteed tomorrow. Step 2, shift focus from salary to asset growth. Start managing your money like the 1%. Stop asking, how can I get a raise? And start asking, how can I acquire an asset that pays me whether I'm working or sleeping? And step 3, build a portfolio of diverse income streams. Now start small. Maybe it's dividend investing, maybe it's a small side business, maybe it's real estate or some freelance consulting. The goal here isn't to replace your job overnight. The goal is to dilute the risk your job holds over your life.
I want to end this explainer not with some neat, tidy conclusion, but with a highly provocative question that I really want you to take with you today. If your paycheck stopped tomorrow, how long would your assets carry you? A week? A month? A year? Forever? Be brutally honest with yourself about the answer. The whole point of looking at this source material today is to realize that true security isn't given to you by an employer. True security is built. It's built stream by stream, asset by asset, until you are the one completely in control of your financial destiny. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this sparks a massive shift in how you view your own safety net.